HomeGoing by Yajisi is a story about the journey of a family line split in two by the Atlantic Ocean. The author Yajisi was born in Mampong, Ghana, 1989. Her parents are Sophia Gisi and Kwaku Gisi. Ya published her debut book HomeGoing in 2016 and won the National Books Critics Circle's John Leonard Award for Best First Book. The book explores many ideas and themes to the many generations of one family in two different societies. Some explored themes are colonialism, slavery, racial hatred, segregation, cruelty, and redemption in a powerful manner. As you read through the story, you experience many problems each generation goes through. For example, Afia is alienated by her mother and is deceived into marrying a white man, and later finds out her mother Baba was actually her stepmother who was trying to get Afia out of her life. There is a connection between the title Homegoing and the characters, as we follow each person struggling to find a safe place in their life. And there are many different examples of characters finding their home or the place they feel safe. For example, James, who left his family to build a life with Akosua, because he knew his parents wouldn't let him marry Akua and live in their village. Another place where we can find this is Akua never having an actual home, so she leaves with Asomo from the church, so she can have a place that she belonged at. Seeing characters finding places where they belong, or leaving to make their own place, gives you this reason of why the author named the book Homegoing and instead of anything else. And because of that, I enjoyed the book a little bit more than I would have if it was named something else. There is a problem where throughout the chapter the tension is built up with foreshadowing and other things, and right when we reach the cataclysm, it leaves the reader with a cliffhanger. But when the reader is reading the next chapter, we are reintroduced to a new character, and all the built-up tension is now gone, and a new one builds up, and at the end we are again left with a cliffhanger. This happens with Afia and her mother, and Quay with his father finding out he's gay or bisexual. There's also this problem where you read the chapter and you feel like it's a really important story, but then at the end of the chapter, when you get to the next chapter, you realize that character was just there to introduce this character, and this character was just here to introduce the next character, and it just keeps on going like that, and you feel like whatever story that you read is useless, and there's no actual reason to remember it until you get to the last chapter. And I think that's exactly what happened to me, because I don't remember any of the chapters or any of the stories except for the last one with Marjorie and Marcus. One big problem is the fact that the story doesn't pay off the reader for reading the chapter. As for example, in Akua's chapter, we get to see her develop a mental illness, which is a bad thing, but we never get to see it resolved, which is basically leaving people on a cliffhanger so they read the next chapter. I am totally used to that by now, because there's been cliffhangers every other chapter, but the worst chapter so far comes in the next chapter with Ya, as we learn about this random dude who's barely even mentioned in the last chapter, and it just disappoints me because until he meets his mother and reconnect with her, I did not care for this person. As far as I know, he was just a random person meant to introduce vaguely introduce the next person or chapter. One way the story could have improved the sad Ya chapter, which pulls at your heartstrings, is by introducing the character in the story before as a side character per se, and then the next time we see them, we learn about what they've been up to, blah blah blah. Alright, so to finally sum up this story, or like the big problem I have with the story is by like Akuo works through her problems and yeah, just by being there helps her, but before he could start making memories, he is sent off to a different place and she wants to see him because he's one of the things that helped her out while she was in a bad place. But she can't see him because he doesn't want to come back and see her. I feel like this could have improved the story a lot more, and this would have like giving us like an introduction that we needed into how he is right now because of what happened while he was little. And it would have given us like an emotional connection to this person because of what he's been through before, and we know that he's been through that because he was actually talked about instead of just referred to as son.